Welcome back to Ghost Powered Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we do another deep dive into Tubi. So for those of you not familiar with this channel, once a week I go searching through the popular streaming platforms and come up with 10 horror movies to recommend to you guys. This week, I went searching through Tubi and came up with 10 horror movies that I think you will enjoy. And with that, let's get to the list!
There is no cure!
Accept the diagnosis, and you will see. It's wonderful here.
So Cure for Wellness is a 2016 supernatural horror movie directed by Gore Verbinski and stars Dane DeHaan, Jason Isaacs, and Mia Goth. It tells the story of a stockbroker who travels to a remote location in the Swiss Alps to retrieve his company's CEO from a peaceful yet mysterious wellness center.
I'd like you to go to Switzerland and bring Mr. Pembroke back to us.
What we offer here is a process of purification away from the pressures of the modern world.
But he soon suspects that the miraculous treatments are not what they seem, and his sanity is tested as he unravels the spa's terrifying secrets. This is really an entertaining supernatural mystery that just really keeps you guessing the entire time, with very well done performances by the entire cast, especially Dane DeHaan, who really shines. He has this steely stare and earnestness to his performance that just really makes this movie captivating. This is a fun popcorn horror movie, nothing too serious, but one that I think you can definitely have a great time with.
Through abuse of his gift.
Mankind, the women running the homes are getting control over gullible women.
So Honeydew is a 2020 darkly twisted horror movie, written and directed by Deborah Milbourne, and stars Sawyer Spielberg, Malin Barr, and Barbara Kingsley. Strange cravings and hallucinations befall a young couple after they take shelter in the home of an elderly farmer and her peculiar son.
Hi. We were just wondering if we could borrow your phone.
And from there it gets awkward, unsettling, and very disturbing. So this is a really unique little indie movie that has just sadly flown under the radar. It's been on my list for a while now, and I'm so glad that I finally checked it out because this really is a gem. It is a bit of a slow burn, especially for the first act of the movie, but it's building into something horrifying, and if you're just patient, it is well worth the wait. It might not be for everyone, but if you're a fan of indie horror, this is an absolute must watch.
I believe the visions caused the tumor and not the reverse. I could feel the visions coalesce and become flesh. Uncontrollable flesh.
So Videodrome is a 1983 sci-fi body horror movie, written and directed by David Cronenberg. It stars James Woods, Sonia Smits, and Debbie Harry. The story set in Toronto in the 1980s and follows the CEO of a small UHF television station who stumbles upon a broadcast signal of snuff films. The layers of deception and mind control conspiracy unfold as he uncovers the signal source and loses touch with reality in a series of increasingly bizarre hallucinations.
Therefore, television is reality, and reality is less than television.
So I just checked out the latest Cronenberg film, Crimes of the Future. And as much as I did enjoy it, it just made me want to rewatch this, because this really is Cronenberg at his best. The body horror in this, the overall shot design and feel, it's just masterful filmmaking. It's unique and wonderful in so many warped and twisted ways. It's from the 80s, so it is a bit dated, but I would argue that the world that Cronenberg creates here feels like another reality, so it just feels timeless. This really is a sci-fi horror masterpiece that I highly, highly recommend.
Oh my God.
What did you do?
So The Girl with All the Gifts is a 2016 post-apocalyptic sci-fi horror movie, directed by Colm McCarthy and written by Mike Carey. It stars Sienna Nanua, Gemma Arterton, and Glenn Close. The film depicts a dystopian future following the breakdown of society after most of humanity has been wiped out by a fungal infection. The plot focuses on a scientist, teacher, and 2 soldiers who embark on a journey of survival with a special young girl.
No! You just touched her. Watch.
No, please, don't do that. They're only children.
So this is another zombie movie. And I'm like most of you guys out there. I'm tired of zombies. It's just been overdone. But this is unique. This is different. This is one that I definitely think is still one to pay attention to and one to check out. It's emotionally powerful, intense, and creepy with some really disturbing moments. Plus, Sienna Nanua is brilliant in this movie. She just gives an absolutely amazing performance. It's a well-written, exciting movie that absolutely should be on your list.
And then I will find you, and you will scream for years.
Come and play with us forever and ever.
So Dr. Sleep is a 2019 supernatural horror movie written and directed by Mike Flanagan and is based on the 2013 Stephen King novel of the same name. It also plays as a sequel to the Stanley Kubrick 1980 film The Shining. It stars Ewan McGregor, Rebecca Ferguson, and Kaylee Curran. Struggling with alcoholism, Danny Torrance remains traumatized by the sinister occurrences that took place at the Overlook Hotel when he was a child. And his hope for a peaceful existence soon becomes shattered when he meets Abra, a teen that shares his extraordinary gifts of the Shine. Together they form an unlikely alliance to battle the True Knot, a cult whose members feed off of the shine of the innocent to remain immortal.
The world is a hungry place, a dangerous place.
These people, they hurt people like us.
So ever since I saw this movie, I've said this is one of the greatest sequels ever made, and I still stand behind that. And it still blows my mind that you don't hear more people talk about this movie. It's also what introduced me to the work of Mike Flanagan, who I consider to be a modern day horror genius. This movie has moments of terror, it's intense and heart-pounding, but it also gives so many emotionally powerful moments as well. And as great as I think the original The Shining is, I think this movie holds up to it. I just think this movie is an absolute must-see for any fans of horror.
I walk in the valley of the shadow of death. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
So Borderland is a 2007 Mexican-American horror movie. It's written and directed by Zev Berman and is loosely based on the true story of Adolfo Constanzo. It stars Ryder Strong, Sean Astin, and Martha Higarda. So when 3 young American college graduate friends go down to Mexico looking for a good time, they spend a night partying with 2 local women. But when they wake up, they realize that one of their friends is missing. Their search for their friend leads to a horrifying encounter with a local cult who practice human sacrifice.
Los espíritus. Papa's gonna use you to talk to him. What's gonna happen to me?
So prior to watching this movie this week, I had never even heard of this, but wow, what a brutally fucked up, terrifying story this is. This movie just goes places, some absolutely savage places. It's gory and so visceral, plus it's well shot with a really solid cast. But this isn't a fun type of movie. It's dark, painful, and unnerving, especially when you realize this is based on a true story and that things like this sadly happen often. But if this sounds like your brand, then by all means, make this the next thing you watch. So Brightburn is a 2019 superhero horror movie. It's directed by David Urofsky and written by Mark and Brian Gunn, as well as produced by James Gunn, and stars Elizabeth Banks, David Dinneman, and Jackson Dunn. The plot follows Brandon Breyer, a young boy of extraterrestrial origins.
One night,
reared on Earth, who realizes he has superpowers. Upon learning of them, Brandon rejects his humanity and turns to evil, opting to terrorize his hometown. So I still don't get why more people don't give this movie love. With as small of a movie as this is, it really goes for it. Just the fact that this movie was even made make it worth watching, because this is just such a fun concept. It's basically a Superman origin story, but if Superman went dark. It's intense, gory, and such a fun watch. This is just a movie that I most definitely recommend.
You know, I'm not even sure I'm in the right tuning.
So Deathgasm is a 2015 New Zealand comedy horror movie, directed by Jason Lee Howden in his directorial debut. It stars Milo Cawthorn, James Blake, and Kimberly Crossman. It's about two teenage boys who unwittingly summon an ancient evil entity by delving into black magic while trying to escape their mundane lives, unleashing hell on Earth.
Now, people are turning crazy, like possessed crazy.
What a gore-tastic good time this is! It's inspired by low-budget horror movies from the 80s and 90s, like Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. It's also a lot of fun for metalheads too. Like, I even saw a Trivium poster in the background, which is one of my favorite bands. There's also so many great gory practical effects in this movie. It's very funny too, with a very crude, offensive type of sense of humor. This movie is such a blast, and one you should definitely check out. So Blood Vessels is a 2019 World War II set horror movie, directed by Justin Dix and starring Alyssa Sutherland, Robert Taylor, and Nathan Phillips. So somewhere in the North Atlantic in 1945, a raft is adrift at sea with survivors from a torpedoed hospital ship. With no food, water, or shelter, all seems lost, until an abandoned German ship drifts ominously towards them. Thinking they are saved, they board the ship, only to find out there's an evil lurking inside.
You know what I think is strange?
Move the other way.
Everyone was just thrown overboard.
Enough.
All this fighting and shouting. No one comes to see.
So this is another popcorn horror fun watch. I really appreciated the costume and set designs in this movie. They just did a great job of making it feel like World War II, especially considering how small of a movie this is. And in a lot of ways, this movie has a 1980s horror feel about it. It has a great look and feel to it. It's moody and creepy, but once it gets going, it's full-blown exciting action with some really great practical creature designs as well. This is another one that you could definitely have fun with.
Haven't you done enough, huh?
Time is on my side.
So Fallen is a 1998 supernatural horror movie, directed by Gregory Hoblet and stars Denzel Washington, John Goodman, and Donald Sutherland. After witnessing the execution of a serial killer whom he had arrested, police detective John Hobbs and his partner Jonesy are soon investigating another murder whose MOD is eerily similar. As they dig deeper, they come across the occult and the possibility that an evil spirit is committing the killings.
My work is based upon evidence.
And aren't your facts resistant to normal interpretation?
Hey, Hobbs.
You leave my family alone.
But I'm still having fun.
So this is an absolutely underrated movie. For a Denzel Washington movie with a cast like this, it's criminally underrated in my opinion. It's just crazy how you never hear about this movie. It's well performed on every level by the entire cast. It's well shot and directed with a very interesting story. And this is a movie with some unique twists that just give it a different overall feel to it. It's a crime drama with supernatural elements. It's a great pick for anyone who enjoys Criminal Minds as well as demonic possession horror. I think this is a great one, so kick back and enjoy. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me today. Please leave your comments down below. Let me know if there's any other movies on Tubi that I should check out. Also, if you could do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that's the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week, I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to my patron, because you guys, yeah, you, seriously, your support means so much to me. And if you would like to find out more about becoming a patron, the link is down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. Say it with me. And horror can be fun. I will see you guys next time.